Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to Frame by Frame, Nikon's very own podcast show live at Xposure Festival here in Sharjah City, where we uncover and explore insights and stories and beautiful things about renowned photographers all around the globe. Join us as we uncover the magic behind the lens in each and every episode. Hi, I'm Elle Laine, your host for today's podcast session. A little bit about me, I am a content creator both in photo and video, also a hair and makeup artist. But hey, I'm not in the hot seat for today. Joining me live is Abu Dhabi's most favorite food and product photographer, Jay Alonso. Hi Jay, how are you?
Hello, Lane. Good afternoon, and it's nice to be back here in the Sharjah Xposure.
Absolutely. How are you finding it this year?
Well, this year I didn't have any event or workshop, but in the past, I think when we started since 2016, I think.
Oh, wonderful.
Every year, except for, of course, during the pandemic.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that is how I met Jay, to be honest, in one of his workshops. He did an amazing food photography workshop held in Abu Dhabi, Manarat Al Saadiyat, was it?
Manarat, yes.
In Manarat Al Saadiyat.
During the pandemic.
Absolutely. And before I say what happened after Manarat Al Saadiyat, Jay, please introduce yourself to those who are watching live. Do tell us a bit about your background and your history and how you started in food and product photography.
Oh, hello everybody, and I'm Jay Alonso, and I'm based in Abu Dhabi, but I came from the Philippines, and I've been shooting for in the past 30 years.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Master.
I started during the film days, and one of my cameras then, of course, I tried all different cameras, but I also had a Nikon film camera at that time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Do you still use one now?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And one of my first digital cameras, actually the Nikon Coolpix 995. It was only a 3 megapixel camera, but we were able to use that for movie posters in the Philippines.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And can you tell us if you've transitioned from the film camera since then?
Yeah, so from there, because during that time I was still in the Philippines now, another brand actually got me as an ambassador, but then when I shifted here in UAE, right, I was using a different brand, but there's something missing in the shots that I'm getting from in digital form, because during the film days it was creamy, you have those intrinsic qualities, hard to describe, but in the digital form, like there's something missing. And when I got to try that, Cesar asked me to try the D8. It was D810.
Oh, D810 that then. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the details, I was absolutely blown away.
Okay.
That, hey, this is the camera that I'm looking for, basically.
Okay.
So since then, I haven't used any other brand. And
Brand loyalist right there.
yeah, currently I'm using right now the D850 also,
Okay.
in tandem with the D810. And most people are actually asking, how come I haven't shifted to mirrorless yet?
Yes, exactly. I would have to ask you as well. You're still in DSLR game, pretty strong.
Yeah. Well, for one, I'm an old school.
Okay.
Okay. I started with film, so I'm very comfortable with film cameras, SLR as we call it then. Now we call it DSLR.
DSLRs, yes.
But that's also a testament to Nikon's reliability. I mean, the gear is very, very durable. I mean, imagine that. I'm still using the D810. It still produces the same quality that I
That it
love.
produced then as well. Yeah.
And same with the D850. I mean, it's very robust. So I'm at that point that if it's not broken, don't fix it.
Exactly. Why
But
fix it then?
Yes,
right?
and actually, it's more than that. I just really love that camera. I like the ergonomic factor there, because when you wrap it around your hand, I mean, it's really, really comfortable.
Great.
Even though it's heavy.
I know. I can absolutely understand. I own a D850 as well.
Yes.
My back actually complains every single day if I do use it.
Well,
But what is this your actual go-to gear every time you use it for your shoots? Tell me more about your go-to kit.
Well, if you're talking about food and product, definitely I would go for the D850 immediately.
Okay.
But my favorite lens for that gear is the 105 millimeter macro,
Okay.
because the edge-to-edge sharpness there is very, very superb. It's very, very perfect. Also for portraits, I also use that 105
Yep.
because most people think that when it's macro, it's just for close-ups. Not necessarily. You can use it in the same way that you take pictures of products, people, portraits, and sometimes even if you want a zoom-in capture of a landscape, I still use that also.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is this the same camera and lens you would take with you on your travels as well?
Yes,
Okay.
definitely. So one time we went to Armenia, and my son there was not really in the mood for walking, and I have to carry him. He was 10 kilos, and I have another extra 2 kilos here. Yeah,
But is this something? Do you also carry lights as well in your shoots?
definitely, because especially we're doing food and product. The secret here is actually, aside from your gear, aside from the hero angle, it's the light.
Lighting is key.
It makes a big difference. And I learned this the hard way because when I started as a photographer, it was actually more for fashion and editorial back in the Philippines. But one of my dream job during that time, and we're talking about era 1990s,
Okay.
right? Was to be a photographer for our national carriers in-flight magazine, Mabuhay.
Okay.
And I got in.
And you got in.
Yes.
Is
and-
it one of the travel photography or just the cover page are we talking
yeah,
about?
actually, that's what I wanted. I wanted to go into Mabuhay because you can go to exotic places.
Absolutely.
Doesn't have to be outside the country, but at least, let's say El Nido, Boracay,
Exactly.
Samal. But they didn't send me there. Instead, they assigned me to all the different restaurants in Metro Manila. So basically, all the in restaurants during that time, I covered them, and that's where I got the baptism of fire in food photography. So everything that I learned there was really based on experience.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
speaking of exotic places, how I met Jay was at his food photography, and then in 2 days he was hosting an NPM in Thailand
Yes.
to shoot people and food as well.
Yeah.
Right? And I was blown away because actually a very big fan of his work. We had the funnest, like the most fun in that trip, I would say. And for those of you who do not know what NPM is, it is a Nikon Premium membership. And how do you get on board by being an NPM member is you have to either purchase a full frame camera from us or a premium lens to be able to become a premium member. And what the NPM program allows you or offers you basically is a loan system program where you can loan out your gear, so you can head out and travel and shoot food and photography, food and travel photography specifically with your genre that you're really good at. And also, I believe you can also attend free workshops that I've set up in the year, hosted by really good Nikon instructors in their own genre. So yeah, that's how I literally met Jay Alonso, and it was really good to see how he works, his magic behind the lens. I also want to ask a question because as a food photographer and a product photographer, you also have to be a stylist.
Emergency stylist, I would say.
An emergency stylist.
Yes.
What would you say is your number one technique or something that you have to have when you're styling food and product?
Well, one is never trust anything that's on the plate.
Always fix it.
Yes, because there are chefs, because there are clients that can't afford a food stylist. Okay, so, or they think their chef can do it, right? But the problem with the chefs is that they were trained to prepare the food for dining experience.
Absolutely.
They call it the plating.
The
right?
plating experience.
Yes, but the plating doesn't necessarily mean it's the same or it will be as good as when you see it through the lens. So I always bring with me several things, right? Very minor things, like for example, mirrors, Q-tips,
Tweezers maybe as
tweezers, clay, and spray bottle,
Water, yes.
and even different art brushes.
well. Our brushes, yes, to paint them, glaze them.
Glaze
Yeah.
them, yes. And but usually to avoid this kind of inconvenience that I have to redo the food, there should always be a pre-production meeting.
Okay. With the
So,
chef, correct?
With the chef,
Yeah.
yes. Whoever's going to prepare the food, or if there is a food stylist, Of course, she has to be there because you need to know first what food are you going to photograph. Okay, everybody knows what a burger is, but not everybody prepares the burger in the same way.
Absolutely.
So each restaurant, for example, will have its own signature way of presenting the burger. Sometimes it's open faced. More often, it's the typically stacked one.
Exactly.
So you
Or
have,
with and without the
yes.
fries. Yeah.
So you have to talk with the client how he wants it to be presented, so that you will have an idea how or what should be needed for that particular setup, or if it's just the chef and you know how to style it somehow for yourself
Absolutely.
and the props.
And do you have a go-to styling trick that you always use it in every shoot, I would say?
Okay, this is what I learned from that mabuhay experience.
Okay, go ahead.
Most chefs would love to have the real thing there,
Mm-hmm.
and the restaurant owners also would love to have the real thing. So before, it was okay to have these fake things there. As much as possible, they wanted now the genuine food there.
Absolutely.
Okay, because most people now know that it's always styled or it's always a fake thing. Like, for example, oh, we know that ice cream is made from mashed potato,
Mashed
but
potatoes.
not
Exactly.
necessarily these days. We use the mashed potato to set up the lights. And then once everything is perfect, that's when the real ice cream come in.
Absolutely.
So that they won't be accused of false advertising or something like
The
that.
same thing goes with ice, I believe.
Well, with the ice, well, we can be more lenient with that.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
for example, are you familiar with alum?
Yes.
Okay.
Alum powder
Not
or
the
alum
powder,
stone.
Stone.
Okay, the stone.
What you can do is you can put it in water overnight. That will smoothen the outer areas.
And okay.
And
do
then-
you
No need.
do you file it or no?
need.
Okay.
Just put it put it in the glass. Pour the cola, whatever you have. It will look like cracked ice.
It would look like cracked ice.
Yeah.
What stellar
Yes.
advice that was. By the way,
Yes.
that was a tip and a
Yeah.
secret from your very own food photography here.
So if you cannot get the fake ice, which you know it's a fake ice,
Yeah.
then just get the alum.
Okay. And what other food item or product is hard to mimic in front of the camera? As real as possible as it can get.
Okay. Usually, it's the one that melts a lot.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're talking about drinks or mostly ice cream and
Yes, that also includes, for example, lava cake, for example.
lava cake.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Anything that drips, basically.
Anything that drips also. The easiest would be the ones that, even burgers, right? Even like the cheese there
Yeah,
would look old later on.
absolutely.
Yes.
If it's stale outside and kept for too long, it would look very old.
That's why we also have it prepared double as a backup.
That is true. And what do you think about food wastage that goes into, especially into food photography? Because I believe if one goes stale, you'd have to create another one as a backup.
That's correct. But sometimes we eat it anyway.
Actually, absolutely. We have a team on board. They could eat it.
But you can only eat so much because once the food is there, you see everything that you did, you lose appetite.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
So I do have one question before we end the episode. I want to know, what is your advice or a technique that you can share to aspiring photographers that want to dive into the world of food and product photography?
Once you have mastered your camera, be conscious of your lighting, because most of us, or most beginners, they're so much into the settings.
Okay.
But that's it. If you notice, whatever you do in the camera, it's all the same method, same mechanics, same process. But what if you alter the light before it even reaches your lens? That will make a big difference.
Absolutely. So key is lighting. Lighting is key. My bad.
That's true.
All right. How can we find you on social media, Jay? Do plug in your Instagram or your Facebook handle.
Oh yes, please follow me at my Instagram at jalonzophotography. And you can also check my website, learnfromjaya.com.
Absolutely. So there you go. You've heard it first here live from our favorite Abu Dhabi photographer, Jay Alonso. Thank you so much for joining us. And I hope you learned a trick or two, because he actually has mentioned that little bit of a secret that has helped me right now. Before we actually close the episode, I would also like you to know that we are still live, being hosted in the Nikon booth. Do find us in Hall D at the Trade Center area, where we are having live workshops all the way up until 8 p.m. Do come by and experience our photo area where you can try out the Nikon Z8. And while you're at it, go have your cameras cleaned and checked out while you wait, or catch us live while we're doing the podcast. So that's it for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining us today,
Thank you, Jane.
Jay, and I will see you for the next one.